Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. The next 10 minutes are inspired by an overly anxious student and a song. I hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the Engine. So one of the big things I've been doing to make sure that my classroom is safe for everyone is trying to have space in between classes. This is not that complex, right? Like you have classes where students sit, table where students sit, and they're bringing in all kinds of germs and stuff, and I do a great job, checking temps, everybody's wearing masks and stuff, but I obviously want to sanitize in between classes. So because of this, I let the students out 5 minutes early. So if your class starts at 2, the class before you is leaving at 1:55. I sanitize everything. I ask everyone to show up exactly at 2 because I need that 5 minutes to clean the classroom, get everything cleared out, make sure the filters are good, all of this stuff. Now, one student in particular showed up 5 minutes early, and he consistently shows up early. And I feel really bad telling him that he can't come in because he's just standing in the hallway, and I don't want him standing in the hallway either. And if he's standing outside, it's like a million degrees, so that's not a good idea. So one day he knocks on the door. I'm in here working, and again, 5 minutes before class, and I go and let him in. I'm like, "Hey, you're early, man." And he's like, "Yeah, it's just 5 minutes though." And in this particular day, not only was I trying to sanitize, which is a difficult thing to do while you're chatting with somebody, but I also had other work to be getting done. Right, I had a couple phone calls I had to make, and they were fast, only took a minute or two. And again, wiping down the tables. I know it seems like that's a lot for 5 minutes, but I move pretty fast. And because of this, I was a little annoyed. I was annoyed with the kid, and I tried not to show it, but I knew I was annoyed. I was like, dude, just come on. I told you, show up at the right time. I have stuff I have to get done. And look, 5 minutes is not that big of a deal. And all the things I was needing to get done, I was able to get done at a later time. But to me, that 5 minutes was important. And to this kid, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's like, what's the problem? It's just 5 minutes. And it's true, it was. So I kind of let it go. The thing that brought it back, though, my God, is Greenbaum. So there's a really classic song, "Spirit in the Sky," and if you look it up right now, Greenbaum, "Spirit in the Sky," you can't miss it. It's any Vietnam movie, any movie about the 60s or 70s, not be complete without "Spirit in the Sky." Going down to the spirit in the sky. And it came on. I was working on emails, and it came on Pandora. God bless you, Pandora. And I'm just bobbing my head listening to this song because it's great. I mean, it just really gives you, or at the very least, gives me kind of like a sense of peace. And it's like, hey, no big deal, man. I'm going to do my best here on Earth, and when I go, I go. And I get worked up about things. I get anxious about things. That song kind of chills me out sometimes, and it's just great. It's just catchy. And when it came on this particular time, I'm kind of bobbing my head, and I start thinking about, when did this song come out? And I look it up, and it came out in 1969, and almost instantaneously went to the top of the charts. And I started realizing, like, I like this song because I'm sitting around and I'm working, I'm a little stressed out, and just need to chill out. But I started thinking about my parents, in particular my dad, who flew helicopters in the Army, for the Army, in Vietnam. And I start thinking about America in general, being, say, you're like a minority and just getting drafted sent off to Vietnam. And I instantly start thinking about if I was getting drafted to go fight in Vietnam, if I was flying helicopters in Vietnam, shooting at people every day, having them shoot at me, what would my headspace be in receiving this song? What would I be thinking about when I'm listening to this? How would I be relating to this music, to this experience? And it doesn't take a lot to realize, if you actually were living through this time, and say you were even living through fighting in Vietnam, this song, Spirit in the Sky, means something completely different to you. Now, I relate to it because I appreciate the music, I love music, and I appreciate the words, and again, it chills me out and gets my head bobbing. But man, what a completely different experience to the exact same song I'd be having. And I started thinking back to my student coming in early. To him, he's anxious, he's eager, he wants to be here on time, he wants to put his best foot forward. Maybe he even wants to get a little bit of extra studying in, and that's great. That's all great. And to me, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to get some more work done, I'm trying to make sure everything, all of my duties in the classroom are taken care of, and, having somebody here was a little difficult and annoying. But how could he possibly know that? Right? How does he know what I'm going through right now? He doesn't know the work I have to get done. He doesn't know my obligations. He doesn't understand my life experience in this moment. Just like I realized I did not understand when I'm listening to the song. I don't understand the life experience of those that were living and engaged in the world when this song, Spirit in the Sky, came out. It's almost impossible. And I instantly felt bad. I felt bad for being a little annoyed with this kid. He's not a bad kid. I enjoy working with him. And he just doesn't quite get it. And he couldn't. And if anything, listening to that song and thinking about all of the ways that I don't get what my parents went through and what that generation went through, it reminded me to be forgiving. It reminded me to recognize the limitations of my life experience and recognize the limitation of my understanding of somebody else's universe. Because we're all living our own little existences. And if we don't recognize the vast difference between ours and other people, be that same time, different place, or completely different times and completely different places, then we're going to be less forgiving. We're going to be less understanding. And it's going to be a worse world while we're kicking around here. So, if you get annoyed with somebody because they're messing with your life, your plan, your engagements, just remember, they may really, really not even have the capacity to understand what your experience was, what your life was, what your life is, what you're going through. Just be a little patient with them, because odds are they're probably patient with you too. I'm Matt Todd, and this is the engine that drives me. Go out and crush it.